Hi everyone, my name is Sahar and I'm a data chapter lead in a bank. Having a PhD and working in a bank was not exactly how I envisaged my future. That makes me feel a little bit like a unicorn. You know, a perfectly abnormal horse with a useless horn. Some people believe it's got magical powers. I would say we can argue over it. Let me give you a little bit of background, why I feel like a unicorn. Growing up, I was a perfectly abnormal child. I was the top student in the class. I went to the best selective high school in the country. I got scholarship to do my Bachelor of Computer Science, got scholarship to do my Master of Information Technology, and got scholarship to do my PhD in Information Technology, specifically cloud computing and machine learning. Considering the consistency in my life, the only job I believed I can perform was being a lecturer in a university. I knew nothing about the crazy, wild, outside world called industry. So it was the end of my PhD. I'm finishing things up thinking I have to get a lecturer role in a university, right? An email comes through. It's talking about a 6-month internship program in a bank, but here's the catch. It is specifically designed for PhD students. Okay, I respond with a resume, go through the interview process, and get that internship role. I walk into the bank not understanding anything. I didn't know the terminology. I didn't know the data. I didn't know how bank makes money. Where did they get the money from? What do they mean by product offering? Everything was so overwhelming. I was trying really hard, thinking I add absolutely no value. Before I finish my internship and before I officially graduate, they gave me an offer. They thought that actually I am adding value and they want me to stay as a permanent employee. That was a point that I made a decision to stay at the bank. And for the last 5 years or so, I have revisited that decision a couple of times. And every time, I decided to stay. Let's talk through the why. First thing first, they offered me the same amount of money as a lecturer would have been paid. So I wasn't compromising on money. At the end of the day, it's a job. Within the last couple of years, this unicorn has almost doubled her income. I'm not sure about financial progress in academia, but I'm pretty happy with where I am. But it's not all. You know, it's also important to think about what kind of job I do, right? As a researcher, research and discovery is very, very important to me. In university, I was doing research. I was publishing the results in international journals, going to international conferences and presenting them. It was amazing. In the industry, I work for a bank, so there are lots of business problems. I go and try to find a way to solve them. Maybe today or any other day, I won't be able to explain the details of what I do for good reasons, but I can see the results of my work through making somebody else's life easier. It could be making my colleagues' life easier. It could be having a positive impact on customers' interaction with the bank. And I have to admit, seeing that immediate use and effectiveness of my work on someone else's life is amazing. It doesn't stop there. I don't know how to exactly describe it, but let's do it this way. Hi everyone, I'm Sahar and I'm a workaholic. I do work outside of working hours. I work over the weekends sometimes and even public holidays. I've had a few conversations with my line managers and colleagues where they told me, hey, we realised you're working more than you should. We want you to stop. We want you to know that we will negotiate the deadline. We know you care about your delivery, but we want you to have work-life balance. We care about your mental health. You see what they do for me? They push the brake for me. I wouldn't have been a workaholic if I knew how to stop. Having them in my work life means there is somebody else who does that break for me. Now, put me in an academic setting. I would have been doing research, more publications, collaboration with other researchers, supervising postgrad students, teaching, course coordinating. The cycle goes round and round, and if anything, it goes faster. And I don't believe anybody would have pushed the brake for me. It is very personal. I'm not saying every single person with PhD would have the same experience, but I have to admit I'm very happy with where I am for my very own personal reasons. I know we're talking about unicorns, but it's not all cupcakes and rainbows, okay? There are a few things that I have to admit. Some people say I might overqualify for certain roles. I think that's very kind, but nah. There are roles that I do not qualify for. For example, if there is a task that needs to be done a few times with great attention to details, but we already know what needs to be done and how to get there, you don't need me for that. Put somebody else to do it. I wouldn't enjoy it. I will be questioning the whole process, and it just drives me mad. But if you have something, you know what you want, but you have no clue how to do it, that's when you want someone like me. Because I want to go, I want to discover, find a new way, think out of box, like any perfectly abnormal horse would do. The other thing is, doing my research was not with the industry. So I didn't have that connection. It was theoretical. It was about simulating. My whole PhD life was quite isolating. When I'm saying collaboration with other researchers, what I mean is I was drafting the results, I was sending it as an email, I was receiving comments, making changes. I had limited human interactions, which meant in the industry, especially the last couple of years, where I wanted to make the move to become a leader, and especially having people management responsibilities, somebody very directly told me, hey, what is your leadership style? How would you go about conflict management? And today, standing here is a practice. I'm practicing public speaking. Because as a leader, well, as a person, if there's a conflict, the best thing I know how to do is running away, avoiding, right? That's my intuitive reaction. But as a leader, I'm responsible for looking after people. I cannot walk away. I actually have to jump in. I have to be decisive in terms of whether I do or say something or don't, and why, and what's the impact. Remember, sometimes those conflicts can be someone's livelihood, so it becomes very, very critical. I admit the gap was big. The last 2.5 years, I've been reading books, I've been practicing, I've been tested, I've had mentors within the company that I'm very, very grateful for. It felt like I have to jump off a cliff decisively, hoping that there is an ocean and hoping that I can swim. It was that much outside of my comfort zone. It is a work in progress, but I'm very glad that I made that move, and I'm very happy with my own progress. Well, something that we can talk about later. But I want you to know that unicorns exist. They are big, they are grey, and they are called rhinos. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Sorry, is there anything you think you would miss about academic life, or is it just industry so better?
Very tricky question. So in terms of the research part that I talked about, so in academia, you basically choose your own question to solve. You have freedom, and it's very liberating, right? Especially if, you work for a few years. For example, I did my PhD. I spent about 4.5 years on a topic. I was kind of advanced in that area, and I was really excited to continue. Whereas when you come to the industry, the business problem is given to you. Or in my case, because of the industry I'm at, we do have limitations of what we can use. So I have to look at the tool set that is available to me. I cannot just say, oh, I want to use this. I have to make sure that it has passed all the legal and assurance and everything requirements before I can even think about it. So you do have restrictions on the business problem and the topic you're working on, and also on your tool set, which, yeah, makes it difficult. Yes?
Is there anything that you feel your extensive background in academia really helped you with when you went into industry? Are there areas where you felt like you were actually better prepared for that type of industry task than other people who didn't have a PhD?
I'm not sure if it's the PhD thing, but one of the things that happens in PhD life is a lot of failure. So you work on a topic, you keep on experimenting, and you fail a lot. And you submit to international journals, they reject you, or they write down harsh comments, right? I feel like it was the life lessons of working through those emotions and failures and saying, yep, okay, and I'm going to move on and try something else. It doesn't have to happen through a PhD study, but that definitely helped me. So on a personal level, I'm very, very pleased that I did do a PhD, but I wouldn't say that's a necessity. In terms of where I am, I've worked in teams where, let's say there were 7 of us, half of us had a PhD, the other had their master's. So the requirement from that project was in a way that you really needed people who think out of the box. And that's usually the setting, but not always.
Do you think the academics are the ones that are thinking more outside the box?
Generally, because we are told to be critical of what has happened, therefore we can push the edge of the science just a dash more kind of thing.
Freedom that you've had to research going different directions.
Yes. And what I've learned even within the bank was that when you ask for it, when you say, I really need this tool, I really need such and such to happen, it might take time, but it does happen. Any other questions, comments? Alrighty. Silence is gold. Thank you very much.